Dr. Lee reviewed Lucy's file, his brow furrowed. Her sleepwalking was becoming increasingly erratic. She wasn't just wandering her house anymore. Security footage showed Lucy walking miles, ending up in strange and dangerous places. This wasn't normal, even for a severe case of somnambulism. There was something else at play, something sinister that chilled Dr. Lee to his core. He decided to follow her, to observe her behavior and hopefully uncover the root of her nocturnal journeys. That night, Dr. Lee waited in his car down the street from Lucy's apartment. He watched her building, a growing sense of unease settling in his stomach. The hours ticked by, each one feeling like an eternity. Just as he was about to give up, he saw her. Lucy, eyes wide open yet unseeing, emerged from the building. She moved with an unsettling grace, her bare feet gliding over the pavement. He trailed her from a distance, his anxiety growing with every step. She led him through the city, her path winding and illogical. They reached the outskirts of town, where abandoned buildings cast long, eerie shadows in the moonlight. Dr. Lee's heart pounded in his chest, fear tightening its grip on him. Why was she bringing him here? What awaited them in the darkness? He followed, captivated by the mystery and terrified of what he might find. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of decay and damp earth. They finally stopped in front of a looming structure, its silhouette stark against the moonlit sky. It was the Cranston Asylum, a place whispered about in hushed tones. Cranston had been closed for decades, shrouded in rumors of unspeakable experiments and violent patients. Dr. Lee had heard the stories, dismissed them as local folklore. Now, standing here with Lucy as his guide into this nightmare, he wasn't so sure. He watched as Lucy, still in her trance-like state, pushed open the rusted gates. They groaned in protest, the sound echoing in the stillness of the night. Hesitantly, Dr. Lee followed her, his every instinct screaming at him to turn back. He had crossed a line, stepping from the realm of the ordinary into something far more sinister. The grounds were overgrown, nature reclaiming the space that man had abandoned. The air hung heavy, thick with the silence of the grave. They made their way towards the main building, its windows like vacant eyes staring out at them. Dr. Lee shivered, a cold dread seeping into his bones. He felt a presence here, something dark and ancient watching their every move. The asylum's interior was worse than Dr. Lee could have imagined. Dust lay thick on every surface, cobwebs draped like macabre decorations. The air was heavy, stagnant, filled with the whispers of the past. The smell hit him next, a nauseating mix of decay and something else, something metallic and vaguely sweet. He fought back the urge to vomit, his heart pounding against his ribs. Lucy continued deeper into the asylum, her bare feet silent on the cold concrete floor. The darkness seemed to cling to her, to wrap around her like a shroud. Dr. Lee followed, his every sense on high alert. He could hear the scuttling of rats in the walls, the creaking of the building settling around them. Every sound made him jump, his nerves stretched taut. They passed rooms that had once housed patients, each one holding the remnants of a life left behind. Rusted bed frames, decaying mattresses, and the occasional piece of broken furniture were all that remained. The silence in these rooms was deafening, broken only by the sound of Dr. Lee's own ragged breathing. The shadows seemed to writhe around him, twisting and turning in the periphery of his vision. He would catch glimpses of movement, dark shapes flitting just beyond the reach of his flashlight. Were they real, or were his nerves playing tricks on him? Fear was a powerful hallucinogen, and Dr. Lee was quickly losing his battle with it. He heard a whisper, soft and indistinct, carried on the stale air. It seemed to come from the shadows themselves, a disembodied voice whispering his name. Dr. Lee stopped, his blood turning to ice in his veins. He swung his flashlight around, searching for the source of the voice. There was nothing there, only the endless corridors and the oppressive darkness. He told himself it was just the wind, playing tricks on his overactive imagination. But deep down, a primal fear gnawed at him. He wasn't alone in this place.